The earth is your mother, she holds you. The sky is your father, he protects you. Rainbow is your sister, she loves you. The winds are your brothers, they sing to you. Sleep, sleep, we are together always. We are together always. There never was a time when this was not so.
Steals across the meadows of my heart. High up in the sky, the little stars climb, always reminding me that we're apart. You wander down the lane and far.
Hello, and welcome to Journaling Through the Years, episode, I think 53? 54. 53. 53. Yeah, because I recorded last week and I didn't like it. And then actually what I discovered was, I liked it alright, but I discovered that I had jumped ahead into another entry, and there was this one long entry that was really like full of a lot of stuff. And I was going to do a Andrea Zuckerman look, because I did that last week in the episode that I didn't share. But this week, instead, I didn't get my hair curly at the time, so I'm going to do the traditional goth look. You'll see it right here. That's what I'm doing. So the goth of the 90s. I'm going to try to do that as much as possible. So first of all, I'm going to just talk for a bit as I get that done. I got some new makeup. I refreshed my thing. Got a makeup mist and set, which we'll do at the end, I think. Like, I got some new concealer, but I'm pretty much not done with the kind of stuff I have. I got some new, like, blush, which I'm not sure I'm going to use this time because there's no blush in this trick. Basically, it's white as white can be, so I might just, like, use as much as possible of my concealer. I also got, if I can find it, I got new eyeliner. Will you? Okay, that's whatever. So here's my So just right now, I am in this place in my recovery that I'm doing a lot of amends of people that, like, reading these journals, I have been realizing that there are people that I sort of forgot about. I mean, that happens in life. There's people that come into your life for a short season and then move on, especially when you're a child. And you have good memories with them, but you can't really remember them until, like, kind of looking back like I'm doing now. So I've been trying to find these people. And then also there have been people that I've reached out to from my childhood that I've never fully admitted that I did anything wrong. So I've been making amends and not really always expecting anything back. That's not what the amends is about. It's not like I'm gonna get a friend back from this. It's more about kind of clearing the energy and being able to move on from that. I also don't have any, I'm wearing a black dress. It's very hot here. So, and I've got my little Wiccan necklace. And I don't have any black nail polish, but I'm gonna do a blue. It's the darkest I can do. I don't really have a lot of dark. I used to, for a very short time when I was growing up, I did a lot of goth makeup. Well, not a lot, but like my friend, the first abuser, the bad A, the one that said she was like a hippie, but she wasn't, because she was, well, me. And hippie, to be a hippie is to be about peace, and it's what's inside, not what's outside. It's not about dress. I mean, when you're in middle school, everything is kind of about how you look appearance-wise, because you're still trying to figure yourself out. However, I always had a sense of that, like, hippie is about peace and love. It's not necessarily about what you wear or how you're dressing. That's, you know, a few years back, more than a few years back, when I was married to my ex-husband, he had some friends that called themselves hippies. And there was one day when I was at the coffee shop, and I think I was on my computer or doing some work or something, and I was talking to one of them, and I laughed. I go, I haven't changed in a few days. I'm still wearing the same clothes. And because they weren't dirty. Whatever. You know, we all do that to some extent sometimes. And he goes, oh, are you a hippie now? And I was like, what? Like, I didn't say anything because I've not been good about that. But in my head, I was thinking, a hippie isn't someone, it's not about not wearing clothes for days and days. I think I said something like, I've always been a hippie. Because I've always had somewhere in there this meaning of what it means to be hippie is to want to bring peace and love to the world. So another thing that I just did, I'm kind of riled up about it, and I will be talking to my therapist about what I'm going to do. There was a person that I acted in a play with a few years back, and I've never been able to kind of find reconciliation with this or any answers from it, but I've always felt unsafe around it based on some things that they did while we were performing on stage and during rehearsal, on stage in front of an audience. And so I didn't really confront this person. I just went to them in a private message and brought it up and said, this is how I feel. And they just got back to me and said, well, I can't really think about what happened 3 years ago. So, you know, thanks, but no thanks. We're not going to discuss this. So I'm trying to decide what my next step is going to be. I know I'm seeing a therapist tomorrow, so I'll probably talk to my therapist about that. And we'll definitely, like, figure this out. Sorry, I need to reach down and grab this. I forgot a sponge. And then decide from there, like, do I want to take this to the producers of the theater company, you know? I kind of am going to that angle, or at least to one of them. I think this person is a narcissistic person, like on the spectrum of personality disorder. I think they're very calculating. I think that they don't necessarily think that they did anything wrong ever. Yeah, I may do that. The other thing is, if I go talk to the producers or all of the producers, do I tell them, or do I just go privately and say, you know, what would you do in this situation? Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't feel safe, and you didn't, like, for me, I'm just learning to speak up, and this person acts like they can't remember what they did, but I think they did, just because of the behaviors that they have given around me since then. Okay, I didn't have enough concealer to do the whole face white, so I'm just doing, like, right here. But yeah, so just the way they act around me when we're, you know, in rehearsal or auditions and other times, or at parties, it's a very, not a fun energy. It's forced. At times it's super sweet. If they feel like they need something from me, it just feels very manipulative at times, and then other times very disregarding, and downplaying and rude. And it's a big reason, one of the reasons why I didn't participate in the last show that they did a year ago. And I think if ultimately there might be one of the producers that I can talk to about it, that I know for sure I'll be heard. So I will let you know when I talk to my therapist and how that all goes. What else is going on in my life? It is very hot. And yesterday I was trying to put up our pool. And like a above ground pool, and I've never done it myself, and I couldn't do it. I did it tried all day Saturday to, like, smooth out an area by hand, and we live in a very area that's, like, got a lot of, like, craziness. And like a lot of, like, it's kind of on a hill itself, like a little slope, and then some areas seem to be deceivingly flat, but they're also bumpy and hilly, so it's like trying to smooth out an area for this pool. And my partner kind of did it before with another one that was bigger, and I just couldn't figure it out. And so I was in the sun a lot, and I got myself really, really overheated and kind of worn out, like slight heat exhaustion maybe. So that happened. What else? Making amends to people, not necessarily to become their friends. There's a part of me that wants to have at least some recognition, but I don't necessarily need that, or it's not really about that, so I have to remind myself of that. And maybe that's what I need to realize with this situation. I just need to like let it go. Time will tell. I don't know what you think I should do, because it's affecting my wanting to work with this theater company. One of the reasons, because this person is there and I don't feel safe. You know. Still feels a little less white here. That could just be the shadows. Okay. Okay, you know what I'm going to do now? So today we're going to be reading, whenever I get this done, pretty long entry about the summer between my 8th grade and my freshman year. And I was able to, I think I wrote this in the beginning of school, and I wrote a pretty detailed account of everything that happened, by dates and everything. And so it's pretty long and it's pretty in-depth. And going into high school was when my friend and I started having boyfriends, actual boyfriends. It's kind of sad going into this now, going into that level of everything, because I feel like there was such an innocence about this girl that pre-boyfriend, you know, and the way she saw it. And now I could just know that this girl is going to start to have some real painful feelings. Okay, let me look. Okay, so not the best, but I'll cover it up. But it's at least better than the other stuff that was going dry. I'm like, come on out, come on out. Okay, where is it? Here we go. So they have like this picture has like a little red to them. Going like that. So what do we see? Red. Here? Maybe here. Yeah. And I have iced coffee today. I got all my dog walks out of the way, and I got a meeting shifted, so I don't really have anywhere to go right now. So it's kind of nice that I could just kind of sit at home and get work done. Video content kind of organized and what have you. I feel like I have a black eye, but hers is a little bit lighter than this. But the idea is that, like, it's that dark, right? I have the picture, like, right there on my thing, so that's what I keep looking over there. Okay. Let's speed that up in like the post-production of it all. I think I know what I might do. Talk to my therapist about this. But I might actually write back to this person and say, maybe you didn't see these behaviors as abusive, or didn't think that you were behaving in this way that made another person feel unsafe for whatever reason. This is what I'm referring to. And then give them that chance. It looks so scary. Oh god, look at my eyes. Oh. So what do you think? That's a good idea? Is that what you would do? Because I definitely think that I'm dealing with someone with some narcissistic personality disorder-like traits. I've seen it in other regards. I've seen the manipulation. I don't think I'm the only person that has experienced this. I may be the only one that kind of can see it for what it is because of my experience with other people. But, you know, I don't want to jump to a conclusion of that they're necessarily bad. There may be a reason why they, you know, feel this way, and give them the benefit of the doubt. Be like, okay, well, this is what I've experienced. This is what I'm referring to. What do you think about this? How would you like to handle this? Because maybe they didn't think that their behaviors were bad. You know, pushing someone on stage when you're trying to get them to move and saying move in a shrill whisper is not okay. But, you know, may not have the experience to know that, or mocking someone when you're trying to learn everybody's stressed and they're trying to learn this intense lift, and you're making somebody else, you're uncomfortable, so instead of admitting that, you're making it the other person's fault. To silence and shame them, or, you know, for whatever reason. So you look better. Which is never good. So, what else was I going to say? About that. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, and that's like fresh in my mind, so I'm sorry if I keep referring to that. One more thing, I'm just dropping the makeup on the ground. No, I'm putting it in a spot next to it, just so it's out of the way of everything. I will take care of it later. I'll add the lipstick. And then we'll have some iced coffee and I'll start reading. Oh, hold on. I'm going to use the eyeliner to do the lip liner thing because I don't have any lip liner. I never really lip lined my lips, so I've never really done this. It's going to be a mess. Smell. Not bad. Oh god. Didn't know I had that. Okay, what am I gonna do? I don't have a tissue on me. Okay, it was a little better. We kind of dealt with that. Okay, and then I guess I'm gonna try this. I've never done this before, so I guess you just kind of spray your face. To set it, and then I got to brush my hair. Because she would have it like, I feel like down and kind of like. I believe like goth, and then like later on in like the 2000s and such, kind of became emo. And it's funny how like things evolve into the next thing. Like I remember just being a kid at a coffee shop in like my 20s in the early 2000s, and then like from that you started to see these kind of hipsters that were hanging out at coffee shops, and I swear that a lot of like what I was just wearing suddenly became what people were wearing, and I'm like, we were just doing this and people were copying us. Okay, now we're gonna go into the journal. I should not be silent. I should be like total goth. So with the girl, the mean A, the big A, the mean A, when a few years from now we would, and I may be writing about sometime, we would have these boys that we would sneak out to meet, and we would, for whatever reason, dress all in black and put goth makeup on, but then we'd only wear like bright yellow socks or whatever. Like neon, and be like, how did you figure out who we were? The socks. Okay. Iced coffee. So last time that I shared this, we talked about Kids Day, and that lovely day with the boy, the Root of Oliva boy, who's wearing his camo hat. And this, yeah, this is the long one. It's very long and it goes into a lot of different things. So are you ready? Are you ready? Dear Diary, September 4th, 1993. It's Saturday. I started school the 30th of August. I hated it. Aww. I mean, maybe because it was school and I hated it. Like, I had to go back to school from summer. I made a new friend. Her name is R.S. and I called her B for short. So think about what, if somebody's name starts with R, a nickname for them that starts with B, think about that. She's 15 and a sophomore. I have a feeling that this year it's going to be a lot better than last. I tell you what I did this summer. Okay, so last year when I was in middle school, I was teased a lot. And I didn't, you know, that's normal in middle school for there to be a lot of hormonal changes. And that's when you start to have like the clickiness. And a good friend of mine also had a lot of these things happening in middle school, and I stayed. She went away to another school and still has a lot of kind of stress when she thinks of middle school, whereas I went on and had a different relationship and have different memories with these people that were mean to me in middle school. I also, if you remember, I wrote that thing, that death to so-and-so a few weeks ago. I admitted it, that was supposed to be like a night court, a reference to a night court storyline. And I did it when I was in 5th grade to this one girl just like randomly, and she never knew that, so I could see why that might color the next couple of years. And she is one of the girls I reached out to on Instagram and sent a private message to and made amends, which she's probably going to look at that whenever she does and be like, that was what are you talking about? Because we have talked, you know, in my 20s and everything was pretty good, but this is my new me. I just want to be open and honest and apologize and make amends and do the right thing. I tell you what I did this summer. I tell you what I did this summer. Long list. Not I will, but I tell. In June, I didn't really do anything. School ended on June 9th. I met mean A. That's not what I call her. I met A at the black mailbox a lot. We had this mailbox. It was kind of a part of this driveway, this house that was in the middle between us. And so we would like connect there. The weekends, 2 weekends before the 4th of July, it was Kids Day, which we talked about. The boy, root of all evil boy with the army hat and like my shirt that everybody was decorating, and how the army boy and I were smiling at each other, and he was like touching my shoulder, and we were like, it was so sweet. It brought up a lot of memories, and I think I posted this on my Instagram and Facebook and stuff where I was like, I was still sort of, it's summer now, and I'm reliving that in my heart when I sit outside at summertime, the things that we did where we'd go out and we'd all meet and go for walks at night, or later on, and a couple years later, we would meet up at their house and play speed. And when I didn't like him anymore, I had other friends. It was Kids Day, and M, L, and E were there, so we talked about these people were there. The next day, L and M were sitting on the swings, and I walked over and said, "Bye, L. Have fun at camp. I guess I'll see you tomorrow, M. Bye. Nice seeing you guys again." Then I left. The next weekend, I met a guy, BR. We'll call him Brent Remy, because I don't know whatever happened to this guy. I just totally forgot about him. Like, I was like talking to him on the phone for a while, like through freshman year of high school or something, and then I got a boyfriend and just sort of forgot about him, I guess. I don't know. So I was trying to find him on Facebook. You know how you do that? And his name is so common, and I don't remember how he would look, how he even looked. I can't like go, that's him. So anyways, after I had babysat, I was babysitting, I think this was the summer that I had like basically a regular babysitting job all year. Or maybe I think that was freshman to sophomore year. I think I just babysat. I kept watching M. So M, the root of all evil boy, like I'm sitting there. Okay. Oh yeah. What we talked on the dock while M played with these little kids. So M was just there. Maybe he was there for the week or something, just hanging out. And there was these little kids, and he was playing with them, probably in the water and sand and everything. And I was sitting talking to this other boy, and I was watching him. Now me would be like, hey, let's go play with these people. Like me and Brent Remming, whatever I said his name was, let's go play with the kids. And M, like, that sounds like a lot of fun. I kept watching M, and I think I made Brent Remy, a little uncomfortable. That night I ran down to the club to call M to tell him to come down. I saw some guy, walking towards the club, and I ran behind the bushes, praying that he wouldn't find me. I don't know if I knew this was him, but I think part of me was like, oh my god, I think that's him. Maybe we were thinking the same thing. Like, it's like, a lot of times when I think of this time of my life and these friends, I think of that, oh god, like Gershwin songs. Like, she wandered down the lane and far away. I'll play it in the end credits. Or above. Or like, even in the opening. M came around the bushes and saw me, and what I was supposed to say. And M came around the bushes and saw me, and what was I supposed to say? But why? That's kind of funny. Like, if you think about it, can you just imagine? Like, hi. Why am I hiding behind a bush? Nothing. I was so glad to see him, and I smiled. We talked for probably an hour and a half. This is so sweet. I will never ever forget that night. It was wonderful. The first time I'd been alone with him after knowing him for a year, and all we did was talk. And I can tell you that a couple years from there, I think maybe my sophomore year and his senior year, and he might have already been dating my friend who would eventually become my ex-sister-in-law. Anyways, they dated for a while in high school, and I was with other people. And I remember another special day was we went to a club dinner, and we were the only young people there, so we ended up eating in this other room by ourselves, just talking all night with adults were doing their thing. And then he and I ended up going for a drive, and he played me one of his beautiful songs, was just The Sound of Silence. And that is also very, like, that's probably one of my favorite memories of him. But this was the first time we had that long talk, and I just remember it was really nice, and there wasn't a lot of like tension, but I could see like why somebody would want to be with them. But I don't think that was on the table for us to be romantic again, you know. I think we're coupled up, or at least he was. Okay, I connected with him that night. It seemed like I knew with him that night. It seemed like I knew everything about him without him saying anything. Isn't that like the dream? Isn't that what you like want somebody to know somebody in that way? And it's not necessarily possible. It's kind of a Hollywood fantasy. I was so excited that night. A perfect song for that night would be "I'm So Excited" by the Pointer Sisters. So, yeah.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think
June 26th was a truly magical night, so we'll remember that night. Ooh. The next week, the last week of June, I took a drama class at Excel. R was the teacher. I did a scene from the Diary of Anne Frank. I was Anne, and this boy named MT was Peter. The friends I met there were, I should look these people up, LPTHTWADMT. My best friend there was BM. She's my friend, so we became friends. Like, we called each other sisters. And then kind of after, like, kind of lost track of each other throughout the end of high school, and just recently reconnected. I met a guy there. His name was GP. I loved G for a little while, so I had a crush on him. I went through so many crushes. A perfect song for that time would be "This Used to Be My Playground" by Madonna.
this used to be my playground.
I truly love that class because I wanted to do drama. I wanted to do acting so badly, and I didn't really have that outlet, and I didn't really feel like I could in my home life or be expressive. I was always timid. I always felt like I was silenced and afraid, so, you know. The next weekend was 4th of July. They usually have a little party up at the club. AH, another friend I'm trying to find, CT, famous C, and JC were there. Not Jesus Christ, but another person I'm trying to find. My family was there, and my mom's sister, P, and her family. She has 3 little children. A, N, and L are my cousins. They're grown up and everything now. They didn't stay as little kids. That'd be weird. In the races we had in the day, I did it. I did the races. Okay, so the races, like, we were getting older at this time, but C and I, Rennie, I'm going to call her Rennie, like, up until we no longer thought it was cool, the guy, Cliff Barbanel, who ran them when we were kids, was, like, letting us do the game. So it'd be, like, 12-year-olds, and it would just be, like, the 2 of us going down. 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds. Until I think we both just had other things to do, or weren't as interested, or we're like, oh, we're kind of embarrassing. Or we're just too big. It was like, you're 15, 16 years old. You gotta stop doing this now. But anyway. I did the 3-legged and the wheelbarrow with J, and C and A were partners. Okay. In the evening, after I had been with J all day, me and A, Big A, came back from a trip she had been on. She and E were talking for a while. That was the boy I wasn't very nice to. And J and I and A kept on coming up and talking to her. A, this is another A. This is not like the A, the little A. This is just another A. Ashton and I were rolling down the hill together. Root of all evil's mom, but only the parents were there, smiled at me and waved and said something to her husband. Jay started staring at her. I was all, no, don't stare at her. Mean A came up and said, don't stare at her, I'm sure. That's rude. That's such a weird thing, that I'm sure. That's such a mean thing to say. I was all, yeah! One time, Ashton and I were out on the raft, and Root of all evil's father sailed by on the sailboat. I said, look, Ashton, that's Root of all evil's dad. She turned around and said, oh, hi, Mr. Root of all evil's dad. That's not what it says. I never called him Root of all evil back then, but I am now. Root of all evil's dad said, oh, hi. Ashton said, is Root of all evil up? When is he coming up? Root of all evil said, not now, next weekend. Ashton said, okay, thank you, I'll tell my friend. Then I said, okay, Ashton, tell me. That was okay time. That was okay time. I really wouldn't want to go back to it. I would. I mean, summer, fun, being a kid, like, that sounds like a lot of fun. It has nothing to do with the boy. I just want to go hang out with his friends again and do that. A perfect song for that would be America, sung by all my friends that live at or belong to the Vineyard Club, including Ashton. I don't remember this Ashton person. That's not her name, actually. I think she was in middle school with me, like a couple years younger, but I could be confusing her for someone else. I'm looking for her. Are you out there? After that, if your initials, if you ever knew me and your initials were AH, get a hold of me. In like middle school or high school. After that, I had a week off and I hung out with Mine. I fed a black cat at the blank house, at a neighbor's house. And I did that all the way through high school. There was this little black cat that they adopted, but they were like weekenders and summer people only, so they hired me. And that's what I'm doing now, basically. I'm like taking care of animals. I had 2 more weeks at Excel. I took a writing class in the morning, and in the afternoon, an animation class. I wrote a story called Paradise. It was about these 2 twins. Their parents were John and Wendy Paradise, and Jordan is a workaholic actor. What's a workaholic actor? Workaholic actor. How could, I mean, because as an actor, you're kind of like beholden to other people, like. But I guess you could be consumed by it, but like you're beholden to get cast. If you're not gonna work if you're not cast in something. And Wendy is the ex-model that's into drugs. Well, it ends up that they get a divorce, and the son goes with his father, and the daughter stays at the mansion with her mother. Wendy gets a new boyfriend who rapes the daughter. The daughter ends up committing suicide. The son comes back because he receives a letter that his sister is in trouble. He finds out she's dead. He runs away and cries. I loved writing that story, and I loved my friends in that class. And then I go on to save the class. Sometimes I would write in my animation class. Sometimes I would talk to these other kids. I have a song that I would have to go right along with that story. It is Love Is by Vanessa Williams and Brian.
Love breaks your heart.
I do not really remember what happened next. I mean, I do. But that's a major incident. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. I had some little experiences that should be written. Like the time little A and I went to see Sleepless in Seattle. When that came out, it was one of my favorite movies and still is. And we met this boy from he was in an animation class. He was kind of long-haired hippie kid, and we kind of said come, and we didn't expect him to come, and then he came, and I was really embarrassed because I was with my parents. I'm like, no, go away, and I think he just left. there, and I totally rejected him and lied to him, and it was the night that there was square dancing at the club, and M and the gang were down there. I wanted to run down there and jump into Root of All Evil Boy's arms, but I didn't. I also met T.S., but she isn't anything to brag about. I think it was somebody we went back east. I'm not even sure who this person is, but she's not something to brag about. But I'm going to go look her up and see if we can find her on Facebook and be like, why aren't you anything to brag about? This is a really horrible thing to say about somebody. You're not something to brag about. Okay. The most favorite little incident I had, like it's okay. Incident. We had an incident I had was when I found out that Elle and I had the same bathing suit. I remember that. The day I got really close to her, closest I had ever been, I called her Dad, and she called my Mom and Dad. I also took a picture of her, which I lost. Oh, I gave it to Mine, and she lost it. Now I really want it. Why did I give it to her? Why did it? Here's a picture, and she kept it. Like, what? And I lost it. A lady that also had the same bathing suit took a picture of all three of us together. I want it. And I'm probably going to get it. I don't think I meant to say it like that. I would cut the other lady off so it would just be me and Elle together. I mean, really, at the time, like, I didn't know who that lady was and we were kids together. But there's a picture that maybe this lady is all old and everything, and she's like, looking at this picture. Just like, I remember these girls. I wonder where they are today. It would be proof and a remembrance. Proof, like I need proof. I need evidence that day happened. Then I went to Michigan from a Wednesday to another Wednesday. Very specific. I stayed with my grandparents. They're selling their house and they wanted to slip up their stuff between them. Oh, slip up. I think I meant divide up or something like that. They want their stuff between them, my aunt and my dad. I had a hecka raw time because I was going to say hella. In the 90s, we said hecka or hella. Hella raw. Hecka raw. I got to meet some relatives I have never met before that were around my age. Okay, you know. They came over the second night I was there, and we all had a fight with M, who thinks she's an alien. She's about my age. I hope she's doing okay. I should look her up on Facebook. The first 3 days there were boring for me. My parents, grandparents, and aunt looked through all the stuff. On Saturday night, we went with my aunt and her husband, Tim, in a boat ride on Gull Lake, and then, oops, I said his name. And then to a fancy restaurant. The moon was full and bright that night, and it reflected against the lake. It was really pretty. On Sunday, we went over to Lake Michigan to visit some relatives. Lake Michigan looks almost like the ocean because it's about the big waves. I played with little EA, a second cousin of mine, that day. I also met a girl named BS from San Ramon, California. I'm going to look her up because I were pen pals with her for a while. The next day after that, Monday, I went to Climax to visit my pen pals. It's still on my Facebook. AS is not on my Facebook, but ZV is. I also met a casual acquaintance by the phone. Okay. I gotta look up this guy too. He was like my summer fling when I was back there. I saw Z and then took a picture of her house. And okay. So when I was 5 years old in kindergarten, my family and I spent a year in Michigan because my dad was born and raised there and he wanted us to have experience of doing this. We all went up and lived for a year in Michigan. And so in kindergarten, so I have some friends from Climax, I have some memories, and these are the friends that I visited and I saw their house. I remember vaguely going to see their house when they were little. And then I was pen pals with them for years. So Michigan is, when you think about places that are like home to you, Michigan has a sense of home, even though, like, I haven't been, and I went back and I think, 2014 for my grandparents' memorial, and it was like, yeah, this is another home. I saw Z, and then, okay, A and I saw, so I married an axe murderer, and it was just us in the whole it was like a matinee, so I Married an Axe Murderer with Mike Myers, and there was no one else in the movie theater, and they're like, be kind to the people around you, and we're like, hey, be nice to us, and nobody was there. Then we went to the mall, and I bought Ashton, I guess my friend Ashton from This Is Her Again, a pair of sunglasses, and Mean A cross. Whatever. I guess because it was like Gothic or something. Like, why? I wasn't Christian. I also bought a necklace for myself. The next day, I went to Lake Michigan again with my second cousins. One of them and I were together. That night, I went to see the play Nonsense. I don't even remember seeing that play. I don't remember seeing that play. And I've had friends that have been in it and talked about it, and I guess I saw it. It was about nuns. The next day, we flew on a plane back to California. Now, my favorite part of the summer is here. I wish I could go back to this experience so bad. It was so wonderful. So bad. It was so wonderful and so great that if I had one choice, it would be to go back to camp. I went to Camp Ravencliff. At first, I was a little scared and a little depressed about leaving. I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay home for a week and see all my friends, like Root of All Evil Boy and his sister, who were up for the week. But now I am so glad I went, partly because it was the greatest moment of my life. The greatest moment. And partly because I was kind of not in with Root of All Evil Boy and his sister at the time. I don't know why. Maybe we'll explain. Maybe this has to do with the, I mean I do, but that's a major incident. Like, that I didn't want to talk about, but I needed to. I don't remember doing anything crazy that summer. Or saying anything. So I don't know. I mean, we had the bathing suit events. I don't remember doing anything. I remember it was just pretty positive. So I don't know what happened. Maybe I'll explain it. I was in cabin 10 with Mean A. She's my friend that I made go with me. I've been talking about this person repetitively, and I literally just wrote, she's my friend that I made go with me, in parentheses. My counselor's nickname was Seuss, and her real name is Beep. My SILT, counselor in training, name was Slice. Oh, and I have her name here. I can look her up. And oh my god, I'm listing the people that I went to camp with, their names. I'm going to find them. There's so many names there. I'm going to totally look these people up. My friend AD was in cabin 7. She was my best friend when I was a little kid. She hated most of the girls. They were too into their hair and makeup. I mean, you're camping, just pull it back into a ponytail. Anyways, she loved, and so did everyone else, her counselor, Tonka. I love Tonka. She's the greatest. I still know her. I think she took herself off Facebook, like most people did. But I was friends on Facebook, and she's awesome. I concur. And, you know, now I'm like kind of an equal with her. But then she was in college, and I was like going into early high school or something. And so I was a kid, but now it kind of evens out. I like the way I felt at camp. The feelings of security. The feeling that everyone loved you. And the way that you could do whatever you wanted and no one would care. I go into the routine for camp and looking to see. I'm really giving a whole description of what it looked like. I'm trying to see. Okay, here we go. I cannot really begin to express my feelings for camp on paper. Some things are just too hard to explain. The kind of love I felt for camp, the way I felt, it's too hard. I still talk about camp all the time, and that was 3 months ago since I came back. The feeling of leaving, feeling the tears running down my face as I hugged my counselor goodbye, watching as camp grew farther and farther away until disappearing forever, and the sorrow of leaving the closest friends I will ever meet, my sisters in life forever. The earth is your mother. She holds you. The sky is your father, he protects you. Rainbow is your sister, she loves you. The winds are your brothers, they sing to you. Sleep, sleep, we are together always. We are together always. There never was a time when this was not so. Now, you know, going to camp was a new experience. And I think that there was a part of me, you know, I finally found a place where I was unconditionally loved. I didn't have that in my home life. I didn't at the time with middle school and the clickiness of it all. Everything was going on. You know, and you could get away from your regular life. These people didn't really know you except in this place. And so, you know, if somebody doesn't know you, like, they only see you in one context, it's a different kind of love. But I think it gives hope for how we should be. We should find a piece of ourselves to be unconditional in our love. We should be able, I think, to put aside our differences and work together to work through our issues to help each other along. I think that that is the ultimate goal, if possible, for a utopia, for peace. Yeah, and I thought there was more, but yeah, I'll read more next week about that. I go into some things happen between me and the root of all evil boy. I guess some things happen dangerously between, like, some drama is coming, I should be saying. But I think that I'm going to leave you on that idea. As I was starting out talking about this person that I'm dealing with, that I confronted about some feelings I have and what my next step is, I think it's good to end with that memory of a place where I had unconditional love, because I think that in life, I think that we should all be seeking that. I think camp showed me it's possible to have a tribe or to have experience where unconditional love, you know, and no matter what, you're loved, and you can work through anything because you have that love, and you can have that security knowing that you're loved. You can try things that you would never think of doing because you have that love and stability, which I didn't necessarily have anywhere but camp at that time. And I would go back and I'd become a SILT or camper in leadership training, and never go back after high school. I thought at the time, like, oh, I'm going to be a counselor, I'm going to go all the way through, and I didn't. It didn't work out like that for me. I hope someday I can go back to camp and just like walk around and see it, but who knows. So I'm going to leave you on that, with that message, and let me know what you think about my goth makeup, if I should just do this normally, and any comments you have about the situation with the friend of mine that I was talking about in the beginning part. If you have any experiences like that, or do you have any recommendations for any other makeup looks you want me to do? Bye.
And now the purple dusk of twilight time steals across the meadows of my heart. High up in the sky, the little stars climb, always reminding me that we're apart. You wander down the lane and far away, leaving me a song that will not die. Love is now the stardust of yesterday, the music of the years gone by. Sometimes I wonder why I spend the lonely night dreaming of a song. The melody haunts my reverie, and I am once again with you. When our love was new, and each kiss an inspiration. But that was long ago. Now my consolation is in the stardust of a song beside the garden wall. When stars are bright, you are in my arms. The nightingale tells his fairy tale, a paradise where roses bloom, though I dream in vain. In my heart it will remain, my stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain.